What up, folks? What it do? Welcome to another episode of the Best Advice Ever podcast. Yes, with your boy, Mike Goodwin, the bow-tied comedian. Now, if you've been tuning in for the last 3 weeks, you would know that this month we've been talking about the best advice ever college admissions style. And I have my trusty co-host here.
Hi, I'm Gabby Goodwin. I'm his son or daughter. Whoa, my bad. I was thinking about Michael for a second. I'm his daughter, Gabby. My bad.
Yeah, Gabrielle, my firstborn daughter. And she will be attending Vanderbilt University in the fall, a short month and a half from now. And we have, like I said earlier, been talking about the best advice ever for college admissions. We talked about before the application process, during the application process, and after the application process. We didn't cover like FAFSA and merit-based scholarships versus life scholarship. You gotta go somewhere to get that stuff. We just kind of giving you an overview, a broad brush stroke
Yep.
for college admissions. Did you have anything that you had wanted to share but have not shared to this point?
I don't think so. I think we've talked about a lot of different things.
Yeah, make sure they can see your face, like them behind the mic. Well, this episode, I'm going to do the majority of the talking about what I would like for my daughter and just students in general to know as they embark on the next chapter of their life, as they transition from high school to college. Some of the conversations that we will be having a little bit more in depth, but we're like a good starting point here on the podcast. Now, I'm speaking from a position of I'm the first person in my family to go to college, so I didn't have anyone in my immediate family that could give me some ins and outs about college, kind of give me the lay of the land, hip me to the game, right? Like bring me up on the information as it relates to college. Matter of fact, so my college story, man, I actually was just in Orangeburg yesterday. I had a show in Orangeburg. But for those that don't know, I applied to college when I was a senior in high school, and I only applied to one college. I applied to South Carolina State in Orangeburg, South Carolina. And I got in. And I was going to be a Bulldog in the fall of it would have been my freshman year, but in the fall after I graduated from high school. But I didn't go to Orangeburg because I joined the Army. What most people don't know is the second half of the story. So I joined the Army to get money to go to college with full intentions on going to South Carolina State again. I was going to reapply. And then when I finished my time in the military, I was going back to Orangeburg. Well, in between the time that I had joined the Army, I had a cousin who was very close to me, graduate from high school, and actually attended South Carolina State. So great. While my cousin is in college, I'll go and kick it on campus. I'll go and hang out, get some insight on what's going on in Orangeburg to prepare myself for when I make the transition to South Carolina State myself. And that's what happened. My cousin goes his freshman year. He's in college, and I like look at the calendar and was like, yo, Ray, I'm coming to Orangeburg to hang out one weekend. It was in the military. We had weekends off for the most part if we were not in the field or somewhere out on deployment. So I picked a weekend and I went to South Carolina State. Now, like I said earlier, my cousin was a freshman. And so they had all the male students in Bethea Hall, the freshman hall. Freshman hall, full of freshmen, stanking, belligerent, rambunctious, testosterone-filled freshmen. So I go to this weekend with my cousin, and he has a roommate, but his roommate is like, yo, your cousin's coming in town. He stay in my bed. I'll go hang out somewhere else. Cool. I get to my cousin's room. It's very, very meager accommodations. There's like 2 beds, and it was like a wooden slab, like for the desk. It's like a slab. And I may be exaggerating. I may not be exaggerating. I don't clearly remember at this point, but I felt like when I laid in my bed or in his roommate's bed and he laid in his bed, like we could put our arms out and like touch across the room. I think that's how. There wasn't a lot of space. So I wasn't deterred by that. I was like, hey man, it's college. What did caused a lot of concern for me was they didn't have a bathroom in the room. So you had to share hall baths. I've been in the military. That's how we get down. I don't know if I want to do that in college. And it wasn't the fact it was hall baths. It was the fact that, man, these cats was out of control, man. These guys were like doing the most inside of the male dorm. Like they were taking trash and putting it in the ceiling. Like they had a removable tile. So guys was too lazy to take their trash outside of the dorm to the garbage. They were putting it in the ceiling. Then they would do very disgusting things like pee in cups and then pour the cup pee underneath your door. Freshman guys kind of stuff. And the list goes on and on of stuff that happens in male freshman dorms. And I was just like, oh, no, man. I've been in the basic. I've been in the military. And by that point in my Army career, I think I may have had a room to myself. Because, I've stayed in rooms where I stayed in a barracks where I had 2 other roommates. So it was like 3 guys in one room. I've stayed in places where it was 2 guys in one room. But I think at this point in my career, I had 1 person in my room and nobody was in my room. And I was just like, hey, man, I'm not going to go to college and take a step back. So that began to open the idea of other colleges that I may be interested in applying to. But I wasn't out of the South Carolina State sweepstakes yet. So then the next year, my cousin is a sophomore. And now he's not living on campus. And again, this has been 20 years ago, so they may be doing things totally different in Orangeburg. But when I was looking, so at this point, my cousin moves out of the dorm and now he's in a house, like a regular house. But it's a house that has like 3 bedrooms and every bedroom had a tenant. So it wasn't just like his house. He had a room there was 2 other people, and then you like had to lock your door from the other people in the house because they weren't like your boys. They were just other students that lived in the house, and so he would have to like Jimmy rig his room lock. He had like a like a lock. Like he locked his door, but then he had to put like a little. I was like, nah, bro, I'm not doing that, man. So South Carolina State lost one, man. I was. I said, man, they got to do something about this housing, man. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't live in somebody's rent. I just was like, I want to live on campus. Matter of fact, I lived on campus for 4 years when I went to college. I didn't want to leave campus because I got the rest of my life to live off campus. I've already been in the military. I've lived in barracks. So I want to live in campus. So in my heart, I got a lot of love for South Carolina State Bulldogs. I got a lot of love for Orangeburg. In my heart, I wonder sometimes what would have it been if I would have looked at some other housing options and said, hey, man, I'm going to still be a part of the Bulldog Nation. But I didn't. I found myself another university in which I could have. I think I had a roommate. Yeah, I had a roommate my freshman year. We were in like a suite, so we had 2 rooms. There was a bathroom that was in between the 2 rooms. Then I was a resident assistant, so I was an RA for the whole time I was in college. Yep, I think I became an RA my second semester. No, I might have been. I need to look back at that. I might have became an RA as a sophomore, but I stayed in this one particular place, and then we moved to Coleman Hall, which is no longer. They knocked Coleman Hall down. And again, that was me and my same roommate from Brookside. I lived in Brookside. Went to Coleman, but we had a bathroom in our room, so it was 2-person room. I think we had like a little kitchenette, microwave, bathroom, closet, but we were in like a high rise. I don't remember how many floors, but it was like an apartment complex. It probably had like 9, 10 floors. That was Coleman Hall. And then my junior and senior year, I lived in Greenwood High Apartments, which is still there. But then by that time, I had a roommate for a very brief time, and then it was just me. I just had a room to myself, and that had the full kitchen. It had a bedroom, had like a little living room area. We had, I think, some washer and dryer inside of inside of my floor, there might have been like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 5 rooms with a variety of at least 2 to 3 people in each one of those rooms. So housing was a big deal for me when I was on college campus. So all that background, just to give you some insight on my days as a young co-ed. But I want to talk to my daughter and talk to everybody else about some of the things that you should think about as you transition from high school to college. One of the first things people always say, especially freshmen, students, when they graduate high school and they go to college, I remember students would come back to Heathwood and they would often say the same thing. They would say, high school is a lot like college. Because a lot of times what people want is to go to a school, college, and think that college is so radically different than high school. Like, oh, I can't wait to go to college. It's going to be so much different than high school. It's not. It's not so much different than high school. One of the reasons it's not so much different than high school, because the people that are there just graduated from high school. So there's a whole class of people. So if you got 1/4 of the student population are brand new high school graduates. So your whole entire freshman class, for the most part, like I was a freshman that hadn't just graduated from high school. I was a freshman that went to the Army. So you may have some non-traditional freshmen. For the most part, the first 2 years of your freshman and sophomore years, you still are kind of like an advanced high school student. You move like a high school student, like you process things. You think about, oh, when I was in high school, you join groups. You like, oh, in my high school, when you talk about the things, you talk about your high school. You talk about your experience. That's all experience you have. So college for the first year student, in many ways, will feel like high school. So just be good with that. Like, just be okay with that. Just don't be like, oh my God, it's clicks. Like there were clicks in high. Yeah, they are. There are clips in your workplace. There are clicks everywhere. Like there's clicks at your church. There's clicks everywhere. Anywhere people are, they're gonna be the same things that happen in your high school that happen in college. So that's one of the first things I just want y'all to be thinking about. That yes, there are gonna be instances and moments and behaviors that you're gonna be like, it's like we're in high school again. And that's not uncommon. That's not an abnormality. It's just human nature on how people are. What do you think about that?
That makes sense. I mean, and I think one of the main things is like, well, for here in South Carolina, obviously the big school is USC. So everybody's like going to USC. Everyone's like, it's gonna be high. It's gonna feel like high school because everybody that I went to high school with is going to that school, and that can be a factor. But it also can be the fact that, like, literally, like you said, everybody just came from high school, and everybody has different backgrounds and things that they come from, and values that they have that may be different from yours. So I understand that it can still be, or it can still feel like high school in a sense. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of excited to be able to, not necessarily to experience high school again, but to be able to just meet new people and see where they're coming from and learn about their high school experiences too.
Yeah, I mean, and similar to that, I always think the state school gets a bad rap because so our state school is University of South Carolina, right here in Columbia. I don't know, but I would suspect the undergraduate population is 26,000 students. 20,000 students at the minimum is 20,000. It might be as many as 30,000, but at the minimum is 25,000 students. So there's a big arrogance to students that are from Columbia. That's like, oh, it's going to be no, it's not. It's not. You're going to see people, but you're not going to see. You're going to see them like at the gym, and you're going to see them in the cafeteria. So in that instance, people are going to be like, it's just like high school because I see the same faces. That's not valid. Like it's just way too many people for that to be the case. Now, to that point, your sophomore year is gonna feel like a big high school because you're gonna know all the kids by the time you become a sophomore, especially at a school like Vanderbilt. You're probably gonna at some point, if not know the majority of the black students, you're gonna at least know their faces. You may not be good with them or y'all might not hang out, but you at least be like, oh, that's Buddy, that's on the football team. That's the track dude. That's the girl from New York. Like, there's gonna be a familiarity with students the longer that you're on campus. So I say that to say the idea of like high school, it's not because you're gonna get to graduate school, and graduate school doesn't necessarily feel like undergraduate school, or law school doesn't feel like college. Like there's always going to be an element of the thing that you left feeling like the thing that you're going to. Like wherever you are in life, there's always going to be, whether you're started a position at a job, you're going to be the freshman of the workforce. So it's going to feel like you're back in undergrad because you are a freshman and everybody else is more established and you don't know where to get copies and you don't know where to park and all the little things. That's just an ongoing thing in life. So once you get cool with that and just understand that that's just life, that's not even college and high school. That's just how life ebbs and flows. So here's the other thing I would encourage students to do, and as it relates to high school. I don't know how y'all moved in high school. I think watching Gabrielle and how she moved, I think I feel pretty confident in who she is as a person and her values and her belief system. I feel like she's pretty congruent. I don't feel like at school she's a totally different person than the person that she is at home. So the first thing I would tell Gabrielle or students in general to trust people very slowly in college. Because again, you don't know these people. You don't know people's agendas. You don't know people's motivations. Y'all all are freshmen at this school, or you're all students at this school. You love the school. You work hard. Like you think everybody's like you for the most part. And that's just not the case. Everybody's not like you. And people need to earn your trust. You just don't give. That's how you get your heart broke. That's how you get disappointed. That's how you find yourself in these awkward scenarios where you just like, oh my god, you're my bestest friend, and we're gonna be buddies. And like, here's the code to my phone, and here's the key to my room. And then something bad happens, and now you have to start putting up boundaries and saying, oh well, give me my key back. I'm gonna change my code. Like, let people. It's like when I worked at school, I would be the tough teacher. Like I would be mean, Mr. Goodwin. Mr. Goodwin, can I go to bed? No, no. Can I? No, 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 no. So it's easier to establish that type of situation and then start telling people, oh yeah, you can pull your phones out. Oh, once I've understood, okay, this person's not just going to the bathroom to get out of class. They really need to go to the bathroom. Like once I've understood who the people are, their character, how they move, then I start treating people differently according to how they behave. But when you don't know people, when you've had no time to get to know people, you can't be so benevolent and so giving and so open. And then you be so disappointed if somebody says something behind your back, does something that isn't beneficial or positive to you. So I would encourage anyone to be very circumspect, be very deliberate about who you're spending time with, how you spending time, how much you're sharing. I find myself doing that. Like you get on a flight and I'm telling this stranger that I don't know this person. I'm telling them about how I grew up and, all these things because in my mind, I'm never going to see this person again. So we can have this exchange. But on a situation where you're going to see people again and again and again, you're like, hey, man, I might want to keep some stuff close to the vest. And I won't try to be everybody's buddy and get along with everybody. Just like let things happen. Don't press. And again, also be very skeptical. Be very skeptical. I don't know people. I'm a person that I'm very guarded, but I'm very open. I'm very social. I'm very I'm very cordial, but I'm not about to start talking to you. I hate when people come up to me and it's like they want to start talking about politics or they want to start talking about sensitive topics. I'm like, hey man, I don't even know you like that. Slow down, man. Like let's take it easy. So that's one thing I would say. Move slowly. Similar to that, There's a line from Lil Wayne. I don't know if y'all know Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne's a young rapper. He's not young.
Young.
He's an old rapper now. He was a young rapper in my day. And Lil Wayne had a line. He said, "Real G's move in silence like lasagna. Real G's move in silence like lasagna." And so what that means is simply everybody don't need to know everything that you got going on. They don't need, especially, and this is especially as it relates to Greek life and fraternities and sororities. In general, the less you share, the better. Because I've seen it. I'm a part of some fraternity, and people that come like my dad's da 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 da. Like, hey man, hey, be easy. Especially sororities for women and fraternities for men. So you can go to the Kappas and be like, my dad's a Kappa, whatever, whatever. But that don't have to be like, oh, I gotta go meet the Kappas because my dad's a Kappa or whatever. Like, it was a conversation. You get cool with the Kappas. If I see the Kappas when I'm on campus moving in, I'm gonna be like, yo, it's my daughter. But I ain't be like, take care of my daughter. They're not gonna take care of my daughter. They're gonna probably try to be not taking care of my daughter. Like, hey man, hey, I know how to get back here. So I don't have any false. I don't know these kids, even though they're members of my fraternity. I hope that they're good, solid guys. I don't know these dudes, so I'm not gonna be like throwing my daughter to the wolves. Yeah, kick with the Kappas. No, stay away from the Kappas until you figure out who the Kappas that is cool to kick it with. But if you just showing up, do 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 do, ooh, my dad's a Kappa. What's up? Like, yeah, come on, have some of this Nuke juice. And now you somewhere drunk and you thought you were drinking juice. That's not a good situation. So be very mindful if you're a young woman and you got your dad's a member of whatever. Like, that's information that if it's a need to know. Like, everybody on the campus don't need to know your daddy a Kappa. Everybody don't need to know your daddy's a Q. Everybody don't need to know your daddy's an Alpha. And similarly, you don't need to know that your aunt's a Delta, your aunt's a AKA. Like, hey man, evaluate them too. Like, look, see what they got. And even if you got thoughts, even if you like, hey, I'm pretty open to joining a group, or I might know the group I might want to join. I would keep all that information to myself. And I would have some trusted advisors in my life, parents, loved ones, people that are not members of the campus life until you figure out the lay of the land and you're like, oh, that's a good person. This is a solid person. And how do you find out somebody's a solid person? That's a great question that nobody ever asked. How you find out somebody's a solid person is the same way jobs figure out if you are a good candidate. They check your references. They don't just go by what you say. They say, hey, man, Mike Goodwin sent us an application. He worked for you. How was he as an employee? Oh, 2 thumbs up, man. Mike was timely. He was professional. He had initiative, all the things. Versus, hey man, how was Mike? Somebody do that. They're not he was good. Good. So there's things that people may not say, but they say it. So make sure that you get like watch people. Pay attention. Pay attention to people. And here's the other thing. When people tell you who they are, believe them. Don't be out here getting all these benefits of the doubt. Now, you get a benefit of the doubt of somebody who's from Columbia that you knew in high school y'all got that history. Y'all got that. But those people, you don't know these people. And it might be great, it might be cool, but it's like, hey, let me take my time. And the same thing, I think it's important to Give people their space. Like if somebody like, hey man, if y'all been like hanging out a lot, let's say, hey, I love hanging out with you, but I need some time to myself. I need some me time. I'm going to the gym. I'm going to church. I'm going to whatever. Like that's another point I was gonna make. Establish your schedule and make people respect it. So if going to church is important to you, then somebody be like, hey man, we're going to brunch on Sunday morning. Yeah, I'll catch y'all after church. Or I'll catch you on campus later. So it's important to have some boundaries. If there's, I would also say create your schedule. When I'm saying create your schedule, I'm saying make time for you to study, have time for you to do the things that feed into you as a person, like the stuff you want to do for yourself, and then your courses, your classwork, everything. Here's another thing: go to class. Take your butt. I don't care if it's online. I don't care if you could watch it in your room at 2.5 speed. Like, take your butt to class. There's something inherently valuable about showing up. And I know campus is different. I know college, we virtual, we upload the lectures, all that makes it more convenient. And I remember we went on an interview at Duke, like a campus visit at Duke. Very impressive young man was doing our tour. Dude ain't go to class. He didn't go to class. He said, man, he sat, watched all the lectures, did his work. I don't think most people doing that. Most people that don't go to class ain't going to watch the lecture. They ain't doing the work. So it's odd. It's very atypical for somebody to not go to class but to watch the lectures in their room. I would say get in the habit of going to class. Now, again, you're going to find out when you go to class, when you go to college. This is the difference between high school and college. You got some days. There's a few days. Like in college, you got about maybe 5, 6 days. I mean, that may be too many days, but maybe there's a certain like number of days that you can miss. You don't need no tardy. You don't need no absence. You got some days. So one day you hang out with your friends and the morning come a little too fast. And you're like, man, I can't make it. You got one. You got probably three. Probably got 3 days in a semester where you can not go to class. You can go get the notes from somebody else. You can make that up. But I would say be in the habit of taking your butt to class. Also, along with that, read your syllabus like all the time. Like have your syllabus in a place. And again, it's in modern times, so y'all might have it on your phone. It might be in the cloud. I don't know. Back in the day, we had paper syllabus, and you had to have some form of a binder notebook, and you looked at the syllabus. You looked at your calendar. You like, okay, you're gonna look at, okay, we got a test due, because the professors, they're not gonna say, hey, next week you need to have this book read. Like it's all in the syllabus. Become very acquainted with the syllabus. Knock out that syllabus. Spend time with that syllabus. I think that's important. Call your parents. I don't know. I would say daily, but I would at least say, I would say for the parent you talk to regularly, you might want to talk to them daily. And then for the other parent, you might want to talk to them at least weekly. But you need to get in the habit of calling your parents, not just when you need money, because that's what people call when they need money or something happen. You gotta be talking regularly. So you will be like, hey, you need some money. and then we'll see. Like, but just don't be out here missing for weeks at a time. So call your parents. Also, get involved on campus. Join clubs and organizations. Again, don't. I was a habitual joint. I did everything. I was an RA. I was in student government. I was a summer orientation leader. I was a presidential ambassador. I was in ROTC. I was in a fraternity. I recorded the basketball team. Like I did all the things. That's just who I am. I'm just wanted to be the man about campus. I was I was there. I was Mr. Collegiate. I was doing all the things. But I would encourage you, if you're not Mr. Collegiate or Miss Collegiate, get you one or two clubs, one or two groups, and get involved. You know, Gabrielle is in a scholarship program where that is already as a community is there. By virtue of being there, I'm sure she'll be a part of the Black Student Union. So that'll be two very easy, the Ingram Scholars and the Black Student Union. Those are like no-brainers. Boom, boom. She may find some kind of dance situation, some kind of intramural team where she can dance or be a part of a dance team or do something in that regard. But there's a lot. There's clubs, there's intramural sports. So yeah, just excited and want to let her thrive and grow and just be the best version of herself. So thank y'all so much for tuning in. I'll see you next week. Same bat channel, same bat place. So thank you. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. And I appreciate it. See you next time. Peace.